Here is the brutal reality of getting into Section 8 housing in 2025. I started investing when I was just 16 years old and have gone through every single challenge that you could imagine. But after learning these lessons throughout the years, I have now built up to a $1.9 million portfolio by age 21, and that portfolio is still growing every single month. You've probably seen these investors building massive Section 8 portfolios in record time, and you ask yourself, how is this even possible? It all comes down to a proven system that anyone can implement in 30 days. And I'm about to show you how you can use it to finally escape the rat race and achieve pure financial freedom. Just like David, who went from 0 to 3 properties in just 90 days. And just like Sarah, who got her first Section 8 tenant within 45 days of starting this system. Because I'm on a mission to help 1,000 people build profitable Section 8 portfolios using this exact strategy by showing you what actually works completely for free. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact strategy that smart investors use to build guaranteed rental income in 2025, despite the challenges. 99% of investors are overlooking this opportunity, but the smartest investors are quietly building massive amounts of wealth with Section 8 properties, while everyone else is fighting over the same overpriced properties in these crazy expensive cities. Section 8 investors get into this business because it gives you guaranteed rent payments directly from the government. So while other landlords are chasing tenants for late payments or dealing with vacancies, you are getting a direct deposit from Uncle Sam every single month. I remember when I would wake up in the morning, check my checking account, and hope my regular tenants deposited their rent. But everything changed when I discovered Section 8. Now I wake up to guaranteed payments hitting my account like clockwork. My stress levels have plummeted, and my portfolio has exploded to 1.9 million in just 5 years. The truth is, Section 8 is the closest thing to guaranteed passive income in real estate. But there are 3 major challenges that you need to overcome in 2025 that nobody is talking about. The first challenge is that material costs have skyrocketed in certain areas, making full rehab significantly more expensive than they were even 1 to 2 years ago. When I first started, a full renovation on a property costed around $25,000. Now the same renovation can cost about $40,000 or more. So this is pricing out many investors who don't know how to adapt their strategies. But what the successful Section 8 investors are doing instead is focusing on light rehabs, specifically in markets where the numbers still make sense. So instead of gutting properties, they're making strategic improvements that satisfy the housing authority requirements without breaking the bank. For example, in our most recent property that we got in Detroit, instead of replacing all the kitchen cabinets, we simply refurnished them, replaced some of the hardware, and installed new countertops. So this saved us around $5,000 and ended up passing the inspection with flying colors. Now the second major challenge is market saturation. So an example of this is somewhere like Akron, Ohio. So Akron was once a Section 8 gold mine, but it's become overrun with investors driving up prices artificially and making it harder to find good deals. And honestly, a lot of this is simply due to certain gurus out there that I won't name that told every single one of their followers to look at Akron, Ohio. I learned this the hard way when we tried expanding to Akron about a year ago. Properties that have been selling previously for about $80,000 to $90,000 were going for literally $130K or more, destroying the cash flow of this exact strategy. So while everybody else is still fighting in Akron, I quietly shifted my focus to underrated markets in the Midwest and the South that still offer incredible Section 8 opportunities. Cities like Detroit, Michigan, which has been really revitalized in the last 5 years. St. Louis, Missouri, which has always been a solid contender. Or certain parts of Alabama like Birmingham and Montgomery that still offer properties at that sub 100K marker. And those make sense for Section 8 investing. With winter approaching, those Midwest and Southern cities become even more attractive, as many investors are currently hibernating until the spring. So that just means less competition for these deals that are available. The third and most frustrating challenge is that the housing authorities are the most understaffed, overworked, and pain in my butts to deal with. And this is where a lot of Section 8 investors skip this step, even though it's really vital to knowing your supply and demand of a certain area. They don't really know how to navigate the bureaucracy of the housing authorities. So they end up waiting months for inspections, months for approvals, bleeding money the entire time. I once lost over $3,000 in potential rent because I couldn't get in touch with the housing authority. I was calling daily, sending emails, and I was borderline about to fly out in order to just meet them in person to schedule an inspection. So my property ended up sitting vacant for 3 months while I continued to pay the mortgage, the utilities, insurance. But through that painful experience, I developed a system for dealing with even the most difficult of housing authorities. Now I get my properties approved in half the time than most people do. The key is building these relationships before you need them. I now call the housing authority before I even consider buying a property in a specific area. I introduce myself, ask about their specific requirements, and most importantly, I found out exactly who I need to contact for each step of the process. This simple strategy has saved me countless hours and thousands of dollars. In Detroit, this approach helped me discover that they actually have something called a pre-inspection before they'll even consider a property for Section 8, something that most investors don't even realize until it's too far down the line. And if you want to hear more of these brutal truths about Section 8 and how to thrive in 2026, I'll be teaching it all for free during my live webinar on October 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be a complete Section 8 masterclass, as well as focusing on how to invest in Section 8 with all of President Trump's upcoming changes to HUD. So click the link in the description to join the waitlist, and I will show you how to profitably invest in Section 8 in 2025 and 2026. The date is on October 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern. You really don't want to miss this event because it is going to be crazy, and I'll be giving away a lot of free goodies. Let's go back to the rest of the video. Now that you understand the challenges, let me show you the exact formula that I use to find, purchase, and rent Section 8 properties for maximum cash flow. The first step is finding the right market. You need to focus on areas that have a high Section 8 demand, affordable housing prices, properties that meet at least the 1% rule, and active housing authorities. Right now, as I previously mentioned, the best opportunities are in the Midwest and the South. So cities like Detroit, St. Louis, and Birmingham, Alabama. These places offer the perfect blend of affordable properties, but also having Section 8 demand. So the second step is property selection. Not all properties work for Section 8, and choosing the wrong one can be a costly mistake. I look for 3-bedroom homes that have at least 1 to 2 bathrooms, and all of them have to be single family. I also look for properties that need light to moderate rehab, preferably as little as possible unless I'm doing a BRRRR, homes in working class neighborhoods with low amounts of crime, and properties with simple layouts that will pass the housing authority inspection. The third step is understanding the local housing authority requirements before you actually purchase anything. This is where a lot of investors fail, but it's actually quite simple. All you really have to do is call the housing authority and ask these 5 questions. What are your specific inspection requirements? Because every single housing authority has those tiny little local codes that change. What is the current wait time for tenant packet processing and scheduling inspections? Do you have any special certifications or licenses you need, for example, lead paint? What is the payment standard in this specific zip code that I'm interested in? And who is the best person to contact for inspection scheduling? When I failed to do this in one market, I didn't realize I needed a lead paint certification, which ended up causing a huge 3-month delay and thousands in lost rent. And that was specifically in Cleveland, Ohio. And in Detroit, like I mentioned, I experienced something similar where I needed a pre-inspection done, but this time I called them beforehand and learned this before I even started buying. The fourth step is tenant selection, and this is where the magic happens. Despite what many people think, Section 8 tenants are often amazing long-term renters if you know how to properly screen them. Our Section 8 properties rent on average in 14 days, which is actually a lot sooner than the average rental, about 30 days on market. And we're also able to charge about 20% higher than market rate simply because Section 8 tends to have higher limits. And our tenants also stay a crazy long amount of time, usually 6 years on average, which makes your cash flow super stable. The key is having a tenant selection process that goes beyond just credit scores. So we look at rent history, we look at employment stability, and we do conducted, detailed interviews. The problem isn't bad tenants. It's bad landlords who don't screen properly. You should also create a consistency contract for yourself. I know this sounds silly, but this contract states that you will follow this system for at least 12 months without deviation. That means you're not going to chase the new investing strategy that comes up. It should have a start date and a place for you to sign. Because again, it's so easy to get distracted by the next shiny real estate strategy. But if you're consistent with this Section 8 system that I've laid out for at least 12 months, you will build a portfolio that generates passive income for decades to come. But consistency and understanding the Section 8 system are just the first steps to building real wealth through Section 8. And that is why I have put together a completely free Section 8 masterclass happening on October 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be walking you through my complete Section 8 roadmap, breaking down Trump's new policies that will affect investors and Section 8 in general, and giving away a lot of free resources that I typically only give to my paid students. So check out the link below to register for free and learn how to use this information to build your own $1.9 million Section 8 portfolio faster than you ever thought possible. As always, I'm Joseph Khateri. Have a nice day.